Alright. I'm gonna first share the link. If I can find out how to do that, that would be dandy. Just take a second. Here we go. Now I'm hearing myself. I'll turn that off in case it's syncing through. Alright, and streaming now. Link. Alright. I'm gonna take this out because I don't really need it anymore. Yeah, getting these things started, it's a kind of a pain in the ass. Just because, you know, it's been so long. Real quick though, so from now on, I'm going to be doing these more frequently, like probably every month, because this time, you know, I have a shit ton of stuff that I've gotten and that I've read, and yeah, to prevent that from being an issue, I'm going to do it more often as a counter, like in case there's less stuff I've gotten and read, then I'm also going to talk about movies and shows that I've watched, rather than just manga and anime. Now, I think there's something else I wanted to mention. I don't think I can remember right now. Oh, real quick, got new black curtains. This helps keep out the light, because I like the dark. I don't like sunlight unless I'm trying to read. Then I like a lot of light. But yeah, new curtains, that's always nice. So real quick, well, I don't know how quick, but somewhat quick, I guess, I will talk about the stuff that I got rid of, as I did last time, because, you know, it's part of the whole collection. It's part of my journey, I guess. So first off, I got rid of Princess I. It's a 3-volume series. I had all 3, and I got rid of them because it was boring. It started off kind of interesting, but then it got boring. And it was by the creator of Tokyo Pop, who went by the pseudonym DJ Milky, in conjunction with, I think, one Korean artist, and the musician Courtney Love, who is the, I guess, front woman of the band Hole, who also had been married to Kurt Cobain, the frontman of Nirvana. I don't care for either band. I mean, I like a couple Nirvana songs, but I don't know any Hole songs, though, to be honest. Not really interested, though. Not really interested in getting more into Nirvana either. But yeah, Princess I, get it if you're interested in that artist or the founder of Tokyo Pop. Next, I got rid of Sakura Taisen Volumes 1 and 2. It's based off the video game Sakura Wars. And I got rid of it because it was just subpar. There's a one-shot that I think was canceled called Eevee or Eve. It's an OEL by comic creator James Farr. You can find him on YouTube. It's James and Farr. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of middle of the road. Not really interesting enough for me to keep it. Another one shot called Zombie Fairy. It was just stupid. It wasn't good at all. I mean, it was fairly below average, but not the worst, but not the best. Far from the best. Next, I got rid of Detroit Metal City, Volume 1. That is one that I bought, I think, in either the last live stream or the one before that, based on Code Provider's recommendation. He had done a top 10 comedies, and that was pretty high up on his list. And I got it, and I forced myself to read through the first volume, and then I had come to the conclusion that, you know, I'll get it if I see it here and there, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it. Well, that's no longer the case. I just got rid of that shit because it sucked. It was not good. It was so boring and unfunny. Next, I got rid of a romance manga called Bloody Kiss. I got rid of the first volume because that was all I had. It was 2 total. Got rid of that. It was terrible. Tale of the Moon, Volume 1 in Thai. Now, I've not read the manga, but it was in Thai, so that's why I got rid of it. I do plan on reading it just because I've had it, or I had it for so long. You know, I'm keeping a couple foreign volumes. I'm keeping a German Yu-Gi-Oh volume, and I'm keeping a Japanese volume, 2 Japanese volumes, 2000 Nights Volume 1 and Angel Sanctuary 15, I think. Because German and Japanese are both languages I can see myself learning in the future. I don't plan on it anytime soon, but I can see myself learning, and that would be good practice. And yeah, German. I was a big fan of Rammstein back in the day. I still am. Good band. They got me interested in that language, German. And Japanese, that's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. Got rid of Bo Volume 1 because that sucked. I got rid of that Naruto novel. It was called like Innocent Blood or something. I got it last month for free. Or not last month, last live stream for free. And I figured, you know, I got it for free, so I'm just going to sell it. So I did. I also sold my 3 Shonen Jump magazines because I don't need that. I just don't care. I got rid of all 6 volumes of Magic Knight Rayearth because it did not interest me. The art was superb, but the story was boring from what I remember. I got rid of my Cowboy Bebop volumes because it was just terrible. Sure, the anime is much better. In fact, I know it because I've seen a few episodes. Got rid of Cardcaptor Sakura Volume 1 because it was subpar and boring. Got rid of Tactics Volume 1, same reason. Moyasimon Tales of Agriculture Volume 1, same reason. PhD Fantasy Degree Volumes 1 and 2, got rid of those because I remember enjoying it a little bit back when I first got them like 4 years ago. But then, you know, at the end of the second one, it took a turn for the worse, like in a direction that I wasn't really enjoying. So, yeah, eventually I just, fuck it, getting rid of that shit. I got rid of an anime, Batman Gotham Knight. It's a short film of 6 vignettes, and they are anime, and I got rid of it because I'd seen it before I bought it about 4 years ago, and then I recently rewatched it, and I didn't like it as I enjoyed it, but not enough to rewatch it again or even keep it, so I just got rid of it. I got rid of Hellsing Volumes 1 through 9 because it was so boring and bad, and I didn't care. I'm sure it's very enjoyable later, but I just don't care. And not really anything I can do about it anyway because I got rid of them. Got rid of Avalon High Coronation Volume 1 because it was boring, it was terrible. It's an OEL based off a book called Avalon High. In case any of you know that. I think it's a girly thing. I don't know. It was just terrible. East Coast Rising Volume 1, another OEL. It was terrible, and it got canceled after that volume, so yeah. Got rid of Beat the Vandal Buster Volume 9 because I had started reading the first volume, and I read the first volume. I read 4 chapters of the manga, and it was just a standard shonen. If you like standard shonen, you will like Beat the Vandal Buster. I know it recently came back, so that's good for you, but not worth keeping for me. So I got rid of that. I got rid of Boys Over Flowers Volume 1. My mom likes it, so I just gave it to her. I haven't dropped it, but you know, if I ever want to read it, I'll just borrow that from her. I got rid of the 2 anime films that I had, Beauty and Warrior and Solar Adventure. They're both very terrible, short anime films. I was going to keep them originally because, you know, I figured I'd, you know, keep them for, like, to rewatch with some friends, just to laugh at, but really, it's just not worth keeping them. They're just such pieces of shit that I'd rather just get rid of them. And, I mean, yeah, it's Beauty and Warrior and Solar Adventure. You can find them in my manga and anime collection video if you want to see what they look like, I guess. I think I only showed the spines, but whatever. If you want to see 2 laughably terrible anime, because I think it was made in like Indonesia or something, check out those 2. I will say though, Beauty and Warrior, it had a relaxing effect on me because, I don't know, I watched it late at night. I guess I was tired. And it also reminded me of old anime, just the simple style. But yeah, and finally, I got rid of some video games. I got rid of my Guitar Hero guitars, my PS2 Guitar Hero guitars. I don't have any others. I don't have any of the games anymore. I just got rid of them because I didn't have the games, and at one point I had planned on getting some specific ones because they had System of a Down songs in them, one of my favorite bands, but you know, I decided against it. Fuck it. I'm not that huge of a fan anymore that I'd buy every little thing that is even the slightest bit related to them anymore, and I don't think I ever will be again because I've kind of loosened my grip on material possessions, as evidenced by this huge list of stuff I've gotten rid of. I got rid of some Pokemon games, I think X, Pearl, Heart Gold, Mystery Dungeon, Red Rescue Team, Pokemon Ranger I got rid of, Pokemon Pinball, I got rid of Super Mario Land, I got rid of Space Invaders, both on the Game Boy. Space Invaders because my parents have it on the Atari, so if I want to play it, why not just play the superior version? Got rid of the Wii wheel, like for Mario Kart Wii, just because I don't need it. Just use the Wiimote. And I got rid of Mario Kart 7, and I can't remember everything I got rid of. I got rid of a bunch of pamphlets. I actually went with a friend of mine. He sold his fucking PS2 and all his PS2 games, and he gave me a couple. I'll show those later. But yeah, a place called Monster Game. It's a used video game store, and there's some good stuff there. I bought a few things. I'll show those off as well later when the time comes. Trying to think if there's anything else noteworthy that I sold. I mean, not really. Lego Star Wars 2, which was the first video game I ever got for the Game Boy Advance, and also Lego Star Wars 1. Thing with Lego Star Wars 2, it was good in my head, but then I recently, kind of recently replayed it, and it just wasn't as good. So, good memories, not a good experience, but not terrible experience, just not worth keeping. I don't plan on playing it ever again. So I got rid of those. And yeah, that's all I can think of right now. And yeah, let's get into what I got. And then we'll get into what I read and then what I watched. Alright, So we're just gonna start with this three stacks of novels and basically non-manga books. So here we go. First off, I got Red Wall by Brian Jacques. This I have a bit of a history with. This is the first in a series of like 27 books. It's a children's book by this Irish guy. He's a good man. Anyway, the show, the cartoon that was based off of this book, I watched all the time when I was a little kid. And then when I was in 5th grade, I read the book and I liked it. Probably not as much as the cartoon, but I'm gonna go back and rewatch the cartoon. Then I'm gonna read the book again, and that should be nice because I remember really liking the cartoon back in the day, elementary school. I don't think I've watched it since, I don't know, maybe 6th grade at latest. It's been so long, but it's I definitely recommend it if you want a good. Oh, I should just give a quick premise. It's about animals, anthropomorphic, well, not necessarily anthropomorphic, just talking animals. Yeah, anthropomorphic would work. Specifically this mouse, who's the, I guess, reincarnation of a mouse warrior, and they have to fight off the rats, and they team up with, there's some other animals. There's a bunch of owls, I think, or maybe there were sparrows. There were sparrows. There was a rabbit, a badger, and yeah, they're basically fighting Clooney the Scourge, a rat, in his army. There's also a big-ass snake that I remember freaking the shit out of me back in the cartoon. But yeah, Redwall is it's a classic. I also got Lord Brocktree, which is in the same series. I got this one. It was at a bookstore, and I had a choice. I had to choose between all of these Redwall books, and this one was the first chronologically, so I just got it. But looking back, I probably should have just looked for the one that was closest to the next in line from release date. But the series, yeah, each book is completely out of order, but that's not a bad thing. Yeah. I also bought Dominion by Fred Saberhagen. I didn't know this when I bought it, but it's actually the 5th book in this series. It's about Dracula, and it's, yeah, just a different interpretation of the character of Dracula, so that's interesting. Got one called Ghost Hunt by Joe Clayton. This one, just completely on a whim, it just sounded interesting. I don't think it isn't the first in its series, though, but that's fine. I can find the other ones. Shouldn't be too difficult. Next, yeah, I got a bunch of Michael Crichton and Stephen King books. Yeah, I don't remember if I've explained this in this live stream, but yeah, a bunch of these books. I got a bunch of books just because I find them from 25 cents to $2, maybe $3 at various places near me. So it's not good for me. Well, it is good, but I just tend to buy a lot of these just because it's so cheap, and I like books, even though I don't read them as much as manga, but I do read books, and I will be talking about those in future live streams. And by the way, I will be talking about one in this live stream, just one. Don't worry. Anyway, first I got Next by Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton, I've been reading Jurassic Park. He's the creator of the book that inspired the movies. As for the movies, I like the first one. The second two were dog shit. Compared to the first one, they're watchable, but definitely not as good. And I'm not interested in Jurassic World or Jurassic World 2, but I will watch them someday, just to see, why not. Got The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. I think it's a medieval one. Yeah, Stephen King is awesome. I like Carrie. I read that one, and I also watched the old movie, not the new one. I might some other stuff I liked. Misery. I had started The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon a while ago, but never finished it. I liked the movie Stand By Me. It's based off one of his short stories. I also liked The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, both based off short stories of his. Can't remember anything else off the top of my head. I really want to read it. It looks really good. The movies I hear are not as good as the book, but yeah, interesting sounding story. I hope none of you guys heard that. Someone just screamed in my house, so that's great. Scared the shit out of me. Thought it was a dog. Anyway, yeah, can't really think of any other Stephen Kings that I've read or seen, but yeah. Next, I got second and third Doom book. This is second one, Infernal Sky, and the third one, Hell on Earth. Thing about these two, I have the fourth one. I don't even have the first one yet. I haven't read it. I found these cheap though, and signed by both authors on the title pages of both of these volumes. So that's I don't really give a shit about signatures, but if I ever sell these, perhaps that'll be an added bonus. Maybe I can up the price a little bit based on that. Yeah, Doom, it's a good game. I haven't played it very much, but I've seen a lot of footage on YouTube. I know Cinemassacre, they play it a lot. TJ Plays It All. He played it. I remember watching that a while ago. Next, I got Michael Crichton's Congo. It looks really good. It reminds me of the Jurassic Park cover, but just with a gorilla. So yeah, that's interesting, I guess. Looks good. I got two more Redwall books. Matameo and Mossflower. Yeah, these are different editions than the other ones I just showed, but yeah, I think, yeah, both of these, I think, no, just Matameo. That's like the second season of the cartoon, which I never watched, and I think Martin the Warrior is the third season, and I believe both of those come next after Redwall, but they might be the second and third. I can't really remember. Not a huge concern. Then I got Joyland by Stephen King. Just looks good, of course. It's fucking Stephen King. And I got this 150 solitaire games. I like playing solitaire. I like cards. This is useful to me. Just, I don't know. Each page is like a new solitaire game. I'll definitely find great use in this. And this is the end of the stack, so I'm going to move this one to the ground. Pardon me for a minute. Alright. Next I got Timeline by Michael Crichton. This one's a bit fucked up. There's some pages. I don't know if they're coming out or not, but they're sticking out. Looks good. Not really much to say. Got The Pigman by the Zindel. It just looked kind of interesting. Yeah, it's a short book. Like, it's only like 140 pages or 160 pages. It's pretty short. We got, you guys will like this one. Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones. It's the movie, the book from the 80s that inspired the Studio Ghibli film that I do not like a ton, but I enjoyed it a little bit. Like the thing with the movie, well, I'll explain that later since I recently rewatched it. But yeah, I got the book. Definitely be reading that. I got The Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's the basis of the movie, I think 2013 movie, John Carter, which I hear sucked, but I haven't seen it. But this is an old Pulp Fiction series that I've been interested in. So, yeah, it's by the guy who also created Tarzan. A bit of trivia for you. Yeah. So next, this one is a bit fucked up. It wasn't, I shouldn't have paid $2 for it. I mean, the retail is 75 cents anyway, so I should have paid like 10 cents, but he still charged me $2 for it, but whatever, I'll let it go. Planet of the Apes by, well, we can't really see his name on that, Pierre Boulle. Planet of the Apes, this is the book that inspired the movie, which is one of my favorite movies ever. It's a very good movie. Been meaning to read the book. Well, I saw the book at this big-ass bookstore that I actually, well, it was a comic book store. And at the comic book store, I got 5 books and 1 comic. So they had all these comics, but I mainly got books. That's just how I am. I'm not a huge comic fan. They didn't have any manga. At least not any tankobons. They had comic book form comics, you know. Yeah. I also got this Planet of the Apes #3, Journey into Terror. I think it's based on the TV series. Well, yeah, it is. And I guess they made a series of books based on the TV series, which I have not seen yet. Yeah, I should briefly mention, for Planet of the Apes, I liked the first movie, and I did not like the 4 sequels, which includes, I think, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Well, I haven't seen Battle for the Planet of the Apes yet, but I will soon. I don't have a lot of motivation to watch it because the other ones were just so subpar. Then there's the Tim Burton reimagining. It sucked. I didn't even finish it. And the reboots I've not seen yet, but I will. You know, I don't know when. Probably after I watch Battle. But yeah. Oh, and I'll also watch the TV series. There's 2 of them, I think. Cartoon and a live action. Yeah, Planet of the Apes. That's some good shit. Got Roughing It by Mark Twain. I liked Tom Sawyer and I liked Huckleberry Finn. I read those both in 5th grade, and I'm gonna reread them sometime. But Mark Twain, I want to read a lot more of his stuff because those were some good books, man. Good classic 19th century literature. That's some good shit. Now we got a bunch of hardcovers. I wonder how long I've been going on. Well, almost 30 minutes. So that's cool, I guess. Let me check something else. No viewers yet. No problem. I got this book that I read back in 6th grade, and I got it for $0.25. Yeah, hardcover for $0.25. And I'm thinking I'm going to reread it at some point, but that is Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. I read it's like a 4-book series, and it's a sequel. No, it's a prequel to Peter Pan. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna read Peter Pan as well, but yeah. Yeah, I remember it being really good, really entertaining. Next, I got Gerald's Game by Stephen King. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but Stephen King kicks ass. So that's pretty cool. More Stephen King. I got from a Buick 8. There you go. And I got Prey by Michael Crichton. Haven't read any of these. Hearts in Atlantis by Stephen King. Everything's Eventual, 14 Dark Tales by Stephen King. This one doesn't have a slipcover. Airframe by Michael Crichton. And, oh yeah, got a few more. The Last Defender of Camelot by, who's this guy, Roger Zelazny. Nice name. Yeah, it just looks interesting. I got the Divergent series for 25 cents each, so that's cool. I planned on reading them at some point. Figured I'd just buy them. I got West of Eden. Yeah, there's a bit of a glare. And Return to Eden, both by Harry Harrison. It's the first and third in a trilogy, and just looks kind of interesting. And yeah, that's like all the books, all the novels I got. So that's pretty tight. Now, I'm gonna go on to some movies. It's not a ton of movies. That was like the bulk of like all the non-anime stuff. But yeah. So yeah, I don't plan on keeping these ones up next. They're VHS tapes. I got them for free, but I figured I'd get them to watch the movies that are on them. First, we got Shawshank Redemption, which I did watch. It was awesome. It was amazing. Anchorman, which was pretty funny. We got Goodfellas, which I haven't watched yet. And I got Man on the Moon, which I hear was a really good movie. Now we got some DVDs. Got this random 15 film horror collection. I don't know, there's Night of the Living Dead, Carnival of Souls, Last Man on Earth, that was a good one. Just a lot of obscure movies other than those. House on Haunted Hill, it's a Vincent Price one. Yeah, I like horror movies. I like old horror movies. These are all pre-1982, yeah. So that's cool. Definitely be watching these this month. That Halloween spirits. Got 40-Year-Old Virgin. It was really funny, a lot funnier than I thought it would be. I got a Richard Jeni HBO special. He's a stand-up comedian. A big steaming pile of me. It was pretty funny. I've seen clips of it before getting this, but now I've seen all of it. It was really funny. Got My Boss's Daughter. I haven't watched it yet. One of the guys who worked on The Naked Gun, one of my favorite movies, directed that, so that's cool. Got Land of the Dead. Haven't watched it yet. I got the Clint Eastwood collection. We got Fistful of Dollars. What is that one? For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Hang 'em High. I've seen Hang 'em High a long time ago. Not recently though. Yeah, Clint Eastwood. He's pretty cool. I dig him. Next we will go over some video games. Yay. Alright, so got Majora's Mask. No, this is Ocarina of Time 3D. Haven't played it yet. I've been playing Pokemon Emerald, so I haven't really been playing anything else. But yeah, love Legend of Zelda. It's amazing, and looking forward to this. Because, yeah, got first God of War game on the PS2. You know, I had a little bit extra credit when I bought the Zelda one, so I just got that. Looked good. A friend gave me both Full Metal Alchemist games on the PS2. I've played both of these in the past because the guy who got me into Full Metal Alchemist and also into Bleach, he had lent me those back when I first met him, back in like 7th grade. Damn. Yeah, they're good games. I also got Morrowind for the Xbox. Looks good. Haven't really played a lot of Elder Scrolls, but it should be good. And I also got, this was like $1, so I don't even know if it'll work, but I got Final Fantasy VII for the PC, so hopefully it works. If not, then whatever. It was only $1, and I'm sure I could sell it at a game store anyway. But yeah, video games. I haven't gotten a lot of video games, like a lot recently, but yeah, I like video games. Haven't played Emerald in like a week though, maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, I prioritize reading over video games, but yeah, it's not a bad thing. Hold on. I can hear myself through the headphones. Yeah, I got a couple anime-related things. I know, well, yeah, Legend of Korra, Book 4, Balance. Haven't watched any Legend of Korra, but I saw this for $1, and I bought it. Because why not? And I also got the complete series of Ergo Proxy on DVD for $1. I've been interested in it for quite a while, so I figured I shouldn't pass up the opportunity at $2 fucking. And finally, last non-manga or anime related thing. Let's see. Yeah, this part's okay. Got this vintage porn comic. Well, it's from the 90s, but vintage to me. Yeah, it's called Night School. Got it for $1 at that comic store I was talking about earlier. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way of experiencing that stuff. So yeah, that's definitely going to be on my reread list. Maybe I'll get some more. Yeah, some good shit. Now we're finally on to the manga part. Bring the stacks over here. Got a fairly good sized bit of manga as well. Yeah. So all this I've not read yet, until a certain point, that is. So yeah. First up, I got I Am a Hero Omnibus 3. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? And I got Omnibus 4. This one was on a back order. Had to wait extra time for it to arrive. Not that it's a huge deal, because I mean, yeah, as I've said in the past, with these I Am a Hero releases, I'm not going to be reading it, or rather rereading them until the 9th one comes out, because that is when new material to me will be released. So yeah, I'll definitely be continually buying these I Am a Hero books as they come out. Next one's not until January, which kind of sucks because I was kind of like glad because this 4th one came out a couple months earlier than you know, it should have, which I'm like, oh yeah, early, which conveniently it took forever to get here anyway. But then the next one is not until a very long time, so that's unfortunate. But you know, whatever. And I read this one, Blade of the Immortal Omnibus 2. Yeah, I meant to switch this with the third one, but I put the third one with the stuff that I read, even though this one was supposed to go over there, but whatever. I got the third one as well, and this one, I think it's probably better than the first Omnibus. This is a very good series. I will definitely keep getting these. I haven't read the third one yet, but that's pretty, it's coming up on my priorities. Also got Legend of Zelda Legendary Edition 3, containing Majora's Mask and A Link to the Past. Yeah, I got this. Let's show that. I read the first two, and they've been great. I've loved revisiting the Legend of Zelda manga series. So glad I have all of them now. Yeah, number 4 with the Minish Cap and Phantom Hourglass. These are definitely worth getting if you're into the Legend of Zelda manga. And if you haven't read the manga but you like the games, give it a shot. It is not as good in comparison, but it's still really nice to read. 5th Legendary Edition with 4 swords. So there you go. Yeah. And I got the Book of Human Insects by Osamu Tezuka. Haven't read it yet, but it looks really good. So, yeah, that's awesome. Also bought this one used. It's Blackjack Volume 4. Got it for $1 because my library doesn't have it. Well, the system probably does, but mine didn't. So I'll have to, well, now I won't have to search for this one. I can just read it. So, yeah, that's great. Yeah, need some water. First water break this whole time. I'm impressed with myself. Just putting these on the ground. Alright. I got this one, Baby Birth, Volume 1. I don't know, it was 25 cents. Looked vaguely interesting. Same with Rinne, Volume 1. Also got Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 and 6. Planning on rereading this series somewhat soon. So, yeah, that's great. I remember enjoying it a lot, even though it was terrible. And I got 2nd and 3rd Bizbigs of Dragon Ball. It's volumes 4 through 9, I believe. Haven't read them yet. Gonna reread the first one and then read these. So yeah, never actually experienced anything past the first omnibus or the first season of the anime. So this is cool. Got one more stack. So got volumes 2, 3, and 4 of Lament of the Lamb. I liked the first one, so whoa. Oh, that's part of the picture. That smudge there, I didn't do anything, I swear. But yeah. Yeah, the first one was good. Figured I'd get the other ones. Got Monster, Perfect Edition 2. Haven't read it yet, but I liked the first one a lot. So, got the second one. Then I got Moo, by Osamu Tezuka. Looks really good, of course. Yeah. Finally, I got Dream Fossil by Satoshi Kon. I watched some of his movies a few months ago. They were really good. This particular book is notable though, because at the end of it, there's an interview with Susumu Hirasawa, one of my favorite musicians. He's fantastic. It's like classical electronic music. It's really good. It's a lot of different genres infused in that. So yeah, if you ever get a chance, check out Susumu Hirasawa. He did the soundtrack to Paprika and Millennium Actress and Paranoia Agent, which are all by Satoshi Kon. That's why his interview is in the back of the book. So now we're going to get on to what I read. Oh shit, some comments. I'm going to read these really quick. Been wanting to pick up book a few minutes, X, it looks great. Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but it does look great. I can't really recommend it yet, but yeah. Just finished reading Dragon Ball recently. It was really good, and definitely one of my favorites now. Yeah, I remember being really fun. Just never had the time and money, but now it's not really a big deal to me. I love Monster 2. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to reading that. Moo's really weird, but I still love it. Yeah, it does seem pretty weird. Guess there's some homoeroticism in that one, so that should be interesting. Dream Fossil is pretty cool. To hit or miss. The stories, though, like with most short story collections, yeah, it's a short story collection. Yeah, I'm a fan of that, because even if you don't like one, then you can just continue reading, and maybe the next one you will like. Found the DVD for Perfect Blue for $15 recently. Haven't watched it yet though. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely a classic. Really interesting. So now I got a few stacks of stuff that I've read that I own. But that's not all that I've read, because I went to the library a lot, and I'm just going to go through this in conjunction with my list that I have on my computer. Alright, so these first two are ones that I've gotten since the last stream, but also that I have read. So this one is Assassination Classroom, Volume 1, and I read it and I enjoyed it. So I'll probably keep reading. Oh, I also read the second one from the library. My library has them all. So yeah, I'll be reading that. And also Blade of the Immortal, or Omnibus 3. I meant to show the second one here and the third one back when I showed the second one. But yeah, as I said earlier, it's really good. Really looking forward to reading this one. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Then I read the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and of Ages. Seasons was not as good as Ocarina of Time, but then it picked up in Oracle of Ages. It was really good. So yeah, Seasons so far is probably the worst, but I haven't even reread the other ones yet, so that'll take some time. Next I read the first 4 volumes of the Tarot Cafe, and then I dropped it because it's one of those series where it starts off episodic. Here, let me just show a volume. It starts off episodic, but then it starts getting a continuous story, and it can either take a turn for the better or for the worse, and this one, it just took a turn for the worst. It just wasn't good anymore. So yeah, so I have the other 3, so it's 1 through 7, but probably gonna get rid of at least the last 3 if I ever do get rid of these. Yeah, I won't miss them. The first 2 are perfect. Well, not perfect, but they're good. But then around volume 3, it starts to get pretty bad. So, I mean, if you see it, maybe get the first 2. Don't bother with the others unless, I mean, yeah, you should try it at least. But yeah, Tarot Cafe, it started off really good, then just got kind of shitty. From the library, I read the first volume of A Silent Voice, and it had been recommended to me since it might be kind of relatable to me, but it wasn't really because the guy in it, like, he wanted to change, and I don't know, it just didn't really, like, it was too quickly that he was kind of turning good for my taste, so I just kind of just lost interest in it. It's not a bad series though, but probably overrated. But yet again, not bad. So I would recommend it, but not for me. I also read the first 2 volumes of Legal Drug, which was really good, but my library's being a bitch and not, like, it lost the 3rd one, so yeah, I've been waiting on that for a few months. Legal Drug, it's a Clamp series that I actually like, finally, because I've really wanted to like a Clamp series, but finally I like one. I heard it's a little bit yaoi-ish. It's not very strong, if at all. I haven't finished it yet, but you know, it's been really good. It's been interesting, and it seems to promote marijuana, but I haven't seen a lot of that. Just a little bit of symbolism on the covers and whatnot. Like, there's marijuana leaves on the fucking logo, so yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a not really a letdown, just kind of misguided. Well, I don't really know who was guiding me into that direction anyway. Well, gee, I don't know, the big marijuana leaf on the cover, that might be one thing. One thing too, I kind of just lost track of what I was saying. Whoops. But yeah, next, Higurashi. I read the first 2 arcs. I forget what they were called. It's like the cotton drifting arc and I don't really remember, but the first 2 arcs, and they were really good. I really liked them, so I'm gonna be reading more. So yeah, I do recommend it. Most people, like, they only get the first 2 arcs. Well, I don't know, most people. The people that well, Code Provider really is all I've seen have it. But yeah, I do plan on continuing past the 2nd arc. It is a bit formulaic, but they're taking, like, every possible route because it's based off a visual novel, so I can find how that would be annoying, but it doesn't really bother me a whole lot because, you know, I just enjoy it so much. Next, I tried to read Blue Exorcist, but it was too standard, too generic for me. So I just dropped it. I didn't even finish the first volume. This isn't a manga, but it is worth mentioning. I reread Bone. Haven't read it since 6th grade, which is when I first read it, so this is my 2nd time reading it. It's a graphic novel by Jeff Smith that I do recommend a lot. I remember liking it a lot back in 6th grade, and I liked it just as much this time around, which, like, 6 years later. I did not like the prequel, though. It's entitled Rose. Just was boring. I didn't like the tall tales this time around. I did read Bone Coda, which was made just last year. It's like not really it is a sequel sort of thing, but it's a very short story. It's basically just a short story to accompany to just read after you finish the manga, and I do recommend that. It was pretty good. And there is the only other thing I have left to read in the Bone series is the Quest for the Spark trilogy, which is like a novel thing, but yeah, I do plan on reading those. But yeah, Bone was pretty good. Next, I read Flipside, Volume 1. It's an OEL by Brian Folk. I guess that's how you pronounce it. You know, it was enjoyable. You can find all of them online on his website for free if you are interested. I don't plan on buying any more, but yeah, I'm glad I enjoyed it. Not really much to say. I mean, I've shown this in the past, but I do have his signature on the title page right there. So that's kind of interesting, I guess. Next, I read Genshiken Volume 1. It was interesting. I remember watching the anime a little bit back like 4 years ago, and I dropped it, but not really for any reason. I just stopped watching it. So I didn't think I was gonna like it as much when I read the manga, but it was actually interesting. It was enjoyable. It wasn't amazing, not one of my favorites, but you know, I'm gonna continue reading it here and there. There were some parts though where they kept going on and on, like talking about certain series that I had no idea what they were. They were probably fictional, and I understand why he did that. You know, it's basically about otaku culture in Japan, and you know, otaku talk about that sort of thing extensively, and I don't know, I just kind of skipped over some of that just because it was not, I didn't get any of it really, so that's my only real criticism. Other than that, it's a pretty, you know, not exceptional series, but it's definitely interesting enough for me to continue reading. And I reread Lychee Light Club, and it was just as good as back when I read it like a year and a half ago. Highly recommend this. It's a one-shot. You know, it's kind of dark. It's similar to the novel The Lord of the Flies, which I did read a while ago. Better, in my opinion, than The Lord of the Flies. But yeah, Lychee Light Club's superb artwork from Usamaru Furuya. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. Next, I read not only these 3 Ayori Aoshi volumes, but I read 1 through 11, and I'm continuing to read it because it's not bad. It's volume 1. It's nice. Hope this video doesn't get, well, I mean, it's not like I'm losing any money on this if my video gets taken down, but yeah. It's basically a harem-ish romance. Not too heavy on the harem when you compare it to like Love Hina or some other shitty harem. Girls Bravo. It's fun. That's all it really is. Nothing superb, but you know, it's alright. I've been reading them from the library. But yeah, oh shit. That was a text message. Not gonna answer it now. And I read volumes 2 and 3 of Pokemon Adventures. It's been pretty good. I was a bit let down by the first one. I remember back a live stream or 2 ago, but basically I'm reading a Pokemon Adventures volume every few handfuls of manga that I read. Like after each, you know, 10 or so, I'll read a Pokemon Adventures volume. You know, it's not something that's totally got me captured, or it is interesting. It's fun. I recommend it if you are into Pokemon. This was one of my first manga that I ever read. It's really the manga that got me into manga, so that's cool. Yeah, I have the first box set and the entire second 7 volumes. So yeah, it's not a bad series. I also read the entire series of Chobits. I only have the first 3, but I read the other volumes from the library. It's a really good series from Clamp. Yeah, it's 2 Clamp series that I like. I had watched the anime like 4 years ago and really liked it, and I enjoyed this a lot. My only criticism is the ending. It kind of sucks. It's kind of just not great, but I still recommend the series anyway. It's about robots. It's futuristic, where society has these robot girls that you use instead of computers. So it's fairly interesting, and of course the artwork is great. So let me get some water. Probably should have gotten a bigger glass. Let's see. I read the first volume of Battle Royale. I have the second and third, but I didn't have the first one, but I got it from the library, and it was really good. Not as amazing as I heard it was, but it probably gets a lot better later on. But yeah, Battle Royale, pretty cool. I read Osamu Tezuka's Metropolis, which was it's probably his worst so far that I've read. I'm going to put this over here so it doesn't buzz. You know, it's a good concept, and it inspired a fantastic anime film like 50 years later. But yeah, Metropolis, it's noteworthy in manga history, but not a particularly great work. But you know, it's got his humor, his art style, and that's all good. I tried to read The Ghost in the Shell again. I got further this time, but it's just not that interesting. It's just not, like, it's so well regarded, but it's just so boring. I'm sorry, I just can't get into it. So not really much to say. I'm still not gonna sell it. I'm not giving up. I'm gonna try reading it in like a year. And yeah, we will see then. I read the first 2 volumes, the first 2 English volumes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It was really good. The third one, it's kind of stuck in the system, my library system. Still waiting for it, but yeah, it's really good. 7 Billion Needles. I read that. It's basically like it's like Parasite, the manga Parasite, but not as good. So, like, if it's subpar compared to Parasite, but it's not bad. So just go into it thinking that, and it'll be hopefully better for you. And it wasn't bad for me, it just wasn't amazing. Next, I read all of 20th and 21st Century Boys. It was amazing. Read it all from my library. It's one of my favorites for sure. Definitely. It's very interconnected. Like, this guy, Naoki Urasawa, he'll start a story from one part, and then he'll take like some completely seemingly unrelated character and then connect him to the story. And he basically, it's like a tree. It keeps just, but like opposite, like the branches come to the trunk, and it's really interconnected, really well thought out, and really engaging. There are a few slow parts, of course, with anything really. There's going to be some slow parts, but it's a masterpiece for sure. Next, I read the first 5 volumes of Dragonhead. It's a survival series. I like survival series, and this one is pretty good. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's basically like a post-apocalyptic series. Really, really good. So yeah, I recommend it. It's pretty quickly paced too, so you can probably read the whole series in like a day. Yeah. Next, I read Swallowing the Earth by Osamu Tezuka. This is one of my favorites for sure. This is definitely my top 10 manga. Well, maybe top 15. I don't know, but it was really good. Basically, these goddesses, they are enchanting men with their good looks and basically driving them to do insane stuff. Like they just can't stop thinking about them. But one man is immune to it, and basically there's this whole uprising of supporters of these goddesses, and then there's the people, like the main population of Earth that's being affected, and he's going around trying to stop the whole thing from happening. And it's a really good adventure. And there's a lot of like thriller and noir elements and science fiction. So yeah, it's really good. Highly recommend it. Next, I read Message to Adolf by Osamu Tezuka. It was not as good, but still really enjoyable. It's a political thriller, I guess you could call it. Really, really good. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of 20th Century Boys, honestly. So if you like that, you probably will like Message to Adolf. I also read Ode to Kirihito, and this one, it was a medical related series, and it was really good. I don't have a lot to say on it because, you know, it wasn't one of my favorites or anything, but it was really good. There's a lot of good action, a lot of good mystery, some well thought out stuff. There's even some psychological bits, which I really enjoyed. And there's this mentally unstable guy. He's pretty interesting. Then I also read Apollo's Song, and that one I really enjoyed. I read it in like I would have read it in the night, but then I got tired. But then I read it in the morning, and it was really good. It's a romance basically about some kid who he hates he hates love because his mom used to beat him, and like he'd catch her with other men because she was a single mom, and she was basically a whore. And yeah, he got really fucked up from that, and he is basically he's in a psychiatric ward where they're inflicting him with dreams, basically, where he always gets close to finding love, but then one of them dies. So, and it keeps happening multiple times. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna read some of these comments. I haven't read anything by Clamp, but I have heard a lot of good stuff. Yeah, they have really good artwork. Ones that I've read so far that I've liked were Legal Drug and Chobits. The others, you know, they had great artwork, but just not good story. Blue Exorcist is trash, to be honest. Definitely not worth reading. Yeah, probably true with most Shonen Jump manga. I even dropped One Piece recently just because it got boring to me. Battle Royale is amazing, and yeah, it does get better. Yeah, it seems like it's definitely heading in a good direction. Have you read Dororo? I'm halfway through it, and I like it a lot so far. Yeah, I did read Dororo a while ago. I have it somewhere. Um, yeah, it's really good. It's probably one of my favorites. Meaning to reread it. Um, yeah, JoJo is great. I think part 1 is underrated. I think it's better than part 3, and part 2 is my favorite. I only read the first 3 parts though. Continuing, I've heard the later parts are really good, so that should be interesting. Yeah, I have heard also that part 1 is not very good, but I've been really enjoying it. Yeah, I've been collecting the 20th Century Boys volumes, and I can't wait to read it. Yeah, definitely. You might want to get like a few and then start reading, because you might get so addicted to it that you just want to read more and more. And if you have a whole bunch with you, then I have that supply. I really want to get Swallowing the Earth. I saw it got released by a Kickstarter, so I'll definitely get it sometime. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really good. One of my favorites. Um, yeah, I'd buy it if I got the chance. I've had Message Day and all for a while, but I haven't read it yet. Oh, Kirihito looks interesting. Yeah, they're both worth reading, definitely. If I had to choose, I'd say Golf over Kirihito, but yeah, both are really good. Oh, Apollo's song is one of the ones I've been looking forward to the most. Yeah, me too. I was looking forward to it for years. Interested in that, and yeah, finally got around to reading it, so that's great. Oh yeah, I have a few more on the list, I think. Oh no, but I do have one book. It's Blade Runner, which is a movie that recently got a sequel called Blade Runner 2049. The book is called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and it was quite different from the movie, but it was really good. I think I enjoyed the movie a lot more than the book, but I read it in just a couple days, even though it was really difficult. Like, it's a higher reading level than I'm used to. So yeah, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Some good shit. Now we'll get into what I watched as the last segment. So the first one was I rewatched for The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which was always my favorite, but now it's kind of my second favorite to NHK. Welcome to the NHK, that is. Yeah, still really fantastic. Yeah, I really enjoy that anime. Highly recommend it. It's really imaginative. Each episode's like a new misadventure. It's just really fun. Very, like, it really makes you think. Not like to the point where it's like some really confusing stuff. Like, I don't know. I can't really think of anything, but yeah, it's definitely worth watching if you haven't watched it yet. I watched Castle in the Sky for the 4th time. Fortunately, I didn't like it as much as I remember. Definitely not a bad movie. I watched Spirited Away for the first time, and it's one of my favorite anime films now. As I mentioned back in the stuff I got rid of, I watched Beauty and Warrior. I already gave my thoughts on that, though. Basically, laughably terrible, but it reminded me of older anime, and it was kind of relaxing to watch at night. So, yeah. I mean, I don't recommend it, but, it's not as terrible as, the few people who do know what it is. Yeah. Started watching Key the Metal Idol, but it was just boring, so I got through like 4 episodes, just didn't finish it. I tried watching Memories, but that was also boring, unfortunately. The first, it's like 3 segments. The first one was pretty good. Second one kind of was just not very good, and the third one I just didn't care at that point. So yeah, dropped that. But I did watch Perfect Blue. That one probably my favorite Satoshi Kon. Basically, it's like a stalking. It's about a stalker of a former pop idol. So that's pretty good, pretty interesting. I watched Tokyo Godfathers, which is I don't know if I like it better or worse than Paprika, which I also watched. I'll talk about that too. It was really different than the other two because it was more of just like not as psychological, but more like a story about three hobos to its parent. So that's cool. And Paprika, it's basically about dreams. It's kind of like Inception, the movie Inception, which is a really, really good movie. Probably better than Paprika. But yeah, Paprika is really good. Watched High School of the Dead for the second time. It wasn't as good as I remember it being. I don't know why. Solar Adventure, same thing as Beauty and Warrior, except not as fun. I didn't even finish it, so yeah, I got rid of both those. I watched Vigata HK, Yamada's first time, for the third time. It's my third watching of that anime. It's one of my favorites. It's not particularly great, but it is fun as fuck to watch. So I definitely recommend it. It's a raunchy romance, but it's funny as fuck. It's really good. I watched the movie Metropolis, the anime movie based off Tezuka's manga, and it was phenomenal. It was much better than the manga, and it was a lot more comprehensive, a lot more like not drawn out but expanded upon. Like you could look at Tezuka's manga as like the template for the movie. So like you read the manga and then it's like whatever. Then you watch the movie and you're like, this is really, really good. So definitely I highly recommend it. It's probably my favorite anime film. Next, I watched Canon 2006 for the second time since like 4 years ago. It was really good. Probably one of my favorite anime. Yeah, it's similar to Clannad and Air. It's based off a visual novel, like those ones. Basically, same same tone. Not as depressing as Clannad though, but definitely pretty touching. Probably the last like last quarter of the anime is not as good as the first 3 quarters, but it's still really good. Still highly recommend it. I watched Howl's Moving Castle for the second time. It wasn't as good as I remember, but not bad. Just like toward the ending, it's kind of slow. Like after they go to the castle, not the castle, after they go to the queen, I think. Then there's just like a bunch of slow parts, and then it gets kind of good at the end. But yeah, not a bad film. Highly recommend it. Watched Princess Mononoke for the second time. It was like it's a good film. It's a really good film, but just kind of slow for me. But definitely not bad at all. I watched Kiki's Delivery Service, which is about a female witch who's a kid going out to a town to help the townspeople, or more like a city. But yeah, that one was really good. I really liked that one. The Secret World of Arietti. It's about these really small people, and they live underneath a house. So they're like the size of bugs, and they coexist with the humans that inhabit the house. And Arietti, the main girl who is the one of the small people. She is seen by a sickly inhabitant of the house. So that's pretty cool. It was pretty good. My Neighbor Totoro. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Not one of my favorites though, but definitely not a bad one. It was pretty good. I watched Ponyo. It was not one of the best, but not one of the worst. And then the only yesterday I started watching. It's another Ghibli film. It's regarded as the best, but I totally disagree. I think it was boring as shit. It was great. I don't think. I just completely disagree with that 100% rating. What the hell? Like, no movie gets a 100% rating. That's bullshit. Definitely not a 100% movie. This grown woman reminiscing on her past as she is going to revisit some relatives. I don't give a fuck about her. Who is this girl? Why the fuck do I give a fuck about her past? I don't care. That interesting to me. And it's the same thing with the Stanley Kubrick film Barry Lyndon. Also regarded as one of the best. But like you start off with the movie and it's like, who is this? Why do I give a fuck about them? Which I don't, because I don't know who this is. And it's just following their life, which I can see the appeal, but it's just not my thing. Tried to watch Poppy Hill, From Up on Poppy Hill, but I just didn't really feel it, so I didn't even watch 5 minutes into it. Studio Ghibli, most of their stuff I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I'll definitely be watching a lot of their stuff, but like in the future, but I'm taking a break because I just watched a lot of yeah, with Studio Ghibli, they always like they all have like the same characters. It's like all these kids, upbeat personalities, and there's old people with upbeat personalities. So it's like it's advocating for the sanctity of childhood and its wisdom of old people. Which, okay, old people are stupid. They're pretty stupid. Like, yeah, I can see why they would have wisdom. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're wise. And they just always portray old people as wise sages in these movies, and it's just really annoying. If it was just like one or two, it's like every fucking movie there's like some old sage. Why do all these old people have to be so wise? Why can't there be a stupid old person? And then these kids are fucking annoying, and they are imaginative, so that's what they're going for. But I don't know, just the positivity doesn't jive with me as much. But I don't know, it's not as much the kids, but with the kids, it's more just they have all the same personality, and that's just kind of intellectually lazy. You're just writing the same fucking character. But yeah, the stories are fine. They're not always very engaging. Art, animation is all amazing. Ideas, the imagination, I very much appreciate all that goes into it. So no, they're not terrible movies, but a lot of them are kind of boring to me. Not really grasping me, and they tend to use formulaic characters. But yeah, definitely not bad movies. I tried rewatching F, A Tale of Memories, but there's this one thing that really pisses me off in not just anime, but really anything, where like a character will be like, I don't know, acting stupid or something, or they do something stupid, character, usually a woman, slaps them in the face. That is a pain in the ass trope. I cannot get away from that fucking trope. It's so annoying. Like, what do you think you're doing? Like, the same fucking thing every fucking time. Like, else to do other than slapping them in the face? Like, there are way more creative ways of snapping someone out of it. And it's in everything. I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't in every fucking thing I watch and read. Like, it was in Madoka Magica. It was in F A Tale of Memories. Though this time it was punching, so that was even more infuriating because I don't like people punching each other. Usually I can put it aside if it's a work of fiction, but it was just really annoying me. They did it in Lost, which is an American show. I could find a bunch of examples. Just put on any movie, and there's like a 50-50% chance, or a 50-50 chance that that'll happen at least once. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Really annoying. I hate that shit so much. It needs to die. It really needs to just die. That and lolicon. Yeah, I'm not a fan of lolicon. It's even in Ayori Yaoshi, but I can forgive it there just because that's such an entertaining series. But yeah, fuck F. A Tale of Memories. It's not a bad series. If you can look past that, which I'm sure I will watch in years in the future and appreciate it once more, but it's a complex, I know, but you know, not gonna jive with that right now. I watched the Lychee Light Club anime. You know, if you know that it is more like a satire than an actual adaptation, and you like the original manga, then you can definitely appreciate the anime. But if you go into it thinking it's going to be like an actual hardcore adaptation, just like any other anime, then you're not going to enjoy it very much. I tried watching Blood the Last Vampire. It was boring. I tried watching the first Berserk movie, which I heard was amazing, but I know I'm going to get like I can understand that it's probably very good, but I'd rather just read the manga, which I will do. I will check out the manga. I'm sure that will get my attention more. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't, I just wasn't really into it at the time. And finally, I watched The Garden of Words, which was really good. It's basically a guy's cutting class because it's raining, and he goes to this garden where this other woman, an older woman, is sitting, and he's designing shoes, and she is you know, they just quickly become friends. It's about their friendship, and it's just kind of a nice short film. You know, the animation is great, the story is nice. It's not particularly deep, but it's enjoyable. Very much appreciative of that work. But yeah, that is basically it. Yeah, I guess I'll just see if there are any more comments. No, not right now. But yeah, that's really it. So if yeah, I don't really know what to say. Yeah, in case you guys weren't here at the very beginning, I will reiterate that these will be more frequent, like probably monthly, because I had a huge ass backlog of all these books, manga, some DVDs, some video games, some other stuff probably. I can't really remember right now, but yeah, let's see how long this has been going. Hour and a half. Nice. Yeah, the end of this month, I don't know if it'll be a little bit earlier or if I'm just gonna wait until the end of November, because on Halloween I'm gonna be celebrating Halloween because I like Halloween. Um, so yeah, if not earlier, if it's not before October 31st, just assume toward the end of November. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. So thank you guys for watching. I'll definitely be reading a lot more and probably watching some more stuff as well. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, let me just end this stream now. Yeah, peace out.